Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. This video might become a bit of a rant. I don't know where the night is going to take us, but I mean in epic proportions. A large portion of the cryptocurrency news as of late is like nearly unhinged, and it could just be that this was going to be the normal evolution of things over the course of the cryptocurrency market, but a lot of the news that we're getting is just completely out of hand. I'm noticing that while prices are rising. So usually what ends up happening is, for those of you who haven't been here for the last two cycles, what tends to happen is that as prices are going up, everyone's super euphoric. My comment section is full of life and love and, happiness and rainbows. But then when prices tend to go down, I tend to become the enemy. I'm the bad guy. Why are you talking about this coin? Why are you not talking about this? I get mean messages that you would not even begin to believe that some people are actually capable of. So imagine my stupidity as the market began to go back up and I just assumed we'd get back into nice mode again, where people, are taking care of their own actions and doing their own research. But apparently we have not gotten there, as in like the last 4 days alone, the amount of nasty messages once again have kind of, been all over the place. So, there's someone by the name of Charles Hoskinson, I'm going to call him Old Man Hoskinson from now on, who is constantly in the cryptocurrency news. And I've mentioned thousands of other times before, it may simply be because I myself am not a billionaire that I can't understand the mindset of someone who's incredibly wealthy who would continue to go online and have like fights with people on a near daily basis on Twitter and or YouTube. I'm going to clarify a couple of things before we really begin, because I really want everyone to know this. If you haven't been here over the course of the last 8 years that I've had this channel, yes, I do hold Cardano, the coin, the cryptocurrency. I have not sold any, but I also have not bought any more in a very long time. If you know this channel and you know me, hello, you know that I am a gigantic, and I dare say the word advocate here, of like actual numbers. I need proof that your chain is going to be doing what you said and or have things lined up that actually end up getting done. From my vantage point, I'm not sure what other crypto YouTubers have been telling you because I have not watched them. I'm not sure what the other hype channels are telling you because they're trying to get you to buy baby Shiba Inu mega coin and all these other things. Having gone over actual news in the cryptocurrency space for 8 years daily, there's been a gigantic runoff in the amount of news and partnerships and actual structure around a lot of the altcoins within the market. Let me explain. You might notice on a daily basis, get it because it's a daily news channel, the vast majority of the news tends to be around Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, like nearly entirely. If you look through the news on like 28 different websites, that's usually the case. We may have days where we get news about Shiba Inu burning coins. Terra Luna Classic is trying to Terra Luna themselves. The people from EOS every 4 or 5 months announce that they're going to be doing some kind of like a rebrand or coming back, and we haven't seen anything in a year and a half. We get some news about Muskie wearing a Dogecoin shirt and how like people are literally, I think, trying to send Dogecoin to like the literal moon in a car or something nonsensical like that. This is the literal news that we kind of get. There's a gigantic difference, and I'm not sure if you noticed. It's a huge difference in 45 banks around the world are trying to actively this month make sure that they can custody, buy, hold, and sell Bitcoin to sell to their clients and also have custody solutions. 15 new companies just got into Ethereum. They're going to be using their blockchain. They've now been added to the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Ethereum's deflationary all over again. Here's all the other things that they're doing. Ripple has partnered with 18 different countries, and they're all going to be using the XRP ledger to put their central bank digital currency on top of. This is monumental. Ripple said they would do this a number of years ago, and lo and behold, look at what they're currently doing right now. Now you heard that news. Now, the other side of the news is we're going to send Dogecoin to the moon in a car. Terra Luna Classic and Shiba Inu have burned more coins as they're trying to get interest back and to raise the price. And Charles Hoskinson got into a fight with 14 people over the course of a month on Twitter and on his YouTube channel, and has continuously declared that there's going to be an upgrade, there's going to be an update, and at some point, millions and billions of people are going to be using Cardano in the future. Keeping in mind, once again, I have Cardano and have not sold any. I told you all before, maybe sometime around summer, where I was like, I am confident at this point Cardano maybe has about 2 cycles left inside of it. There are a lot of people who like Cardano and who believe in Cardano. I've been here long enough that I've seen people like Vertcoin. I've seen them like, what are these other things? Bitcoin Black and Bitcoin Diamond and Bitcoin Cash and Satoshi's Vision. In Neo, I've seen all these, and Tron. I've seen these coins come. They're around for a cycle or two, and then they end up disappearing into the ether. Now, I even checked online because I got into a conversation with someone on Twitter, and sometimes, and I say this really, forgive me if when we're discussing something on Twitter, if I sound standoffish. I'm used to getting very mean messages all the time. It's not like a once a week or once a month thing. About 4 or 5 times a day, spread across my comment section here, on Twitter, on Facebook. Where else is there? You name it. People have even told me before that people are talking trash about me on forums on Reddit. I didn't know that I was that important to your life, but cool. Thank you for being a fan. If I ever sound standoffish, it's because I'm used to getting very mean messages all the time. So if I'm trying to have a conversation with you and I write something in bold or in caps, or, you can't tell the twinge of my tone, I really do talk like this in real life, like how you hear me. I think people think I'm putting on a voice. I've had people see me before on trains and on buses, and they're like, oh, like you actually, like, I really do talk like sarcastically and weird and all this other, like this is me. Know that I'm not trying to be mean, but the reason why I say certain things on the channel, it's because it's my perceived perception of the actual situation that's going on. It is nearly impossible. It is impossible for me. I've looked deep into my soul. It is impossible for me to get news daily about a certain situation, about a certain topic, about a certain coin or investment, especially over the course of a year or two. And if that news is negative or something that doesn't fit the other news, I'm going to have a different perception than I previously did before. It's very important to be able to change your mindset about things. You can't tell me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube that I should be looking more into something, or I should be no. You don't understand. I go over daily news. When I even looked into the actual country partnerships that Cardano has, I think they're working with the country of Georgia, because Georgia's going to be putting one particular supply chain onto the Cardano blockchain. They're working with, I believe, Ethiopia. And Ethiopia, I think, allowed Cardano to join their American Commerce League or something like that within the country. What are the other ones? They partner with 2 other countries. I think they have an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, with one of the other ones. But the 4th country is also something similar to like, we can put some of our paperwork on there. This is in heavy contrast to the other three coins that we were also just discussing. If there was news weekly, bi-weekly, monthly of any type of Cardano's doing major things, and I don't mean like the idea that Hoskinson or someone else says that they're going to do big things. No. I mean like they are currently actively partnering with countries. They're doing major things in Africa. They're in Southeast Asia. You would hear about it because it's in the news, and I go over daily news. But it's not there. Like I said, I really was, I promise you, I was really trying not to rant. But it's quite frustrating over the years when I see coins doing nothing and I see this like beefed up anger all over the place from people telling me that I'm not looking into it enough. I'm not researching enough. This coin's doing major things. What? What is the coin doing? What is Tron doing? What is Dogecoin doing? What are these coins actively doing besides the fact that you bought into them years ago? And once again, I also did the exact same thing because we were all here together going over daily news. A part of the problem also as well with, I think, people being in the cryptocurrency space is the actual literal lack of doing their own research. So I've oh my gosh, so many times you wouldn't believe where I've been in this situation where people will scream at me on social media telling me, well, I bought this coin because TMI told me to do it. There has never, you can look, please, if you want to increase my view count, there has never been a point where I said, buy this coin. What I do say is, hey, this might be the time based off of all the news that you've seen to potentially reevaluate your portfolio. This coin has been in the news for the last 7.5 years and has only done exceedingly well. Maybe you might want to look and see if there's extra money that you could allocate into that. How many times have you heard me say that? Don't raise your hands if you're holding a baby or if you're driving. Raise your hands. Yeah, I know. So imagine my surprise always when so many different coins within the space don't do well, fall apart, especially the crap that I told you was going to fall apart. When these coins end up falling apart and my social media is flooded with people saying I bought this coin because you told me to. Now, this goes out to everyone. I don't care if you've been here for a day, for a week, for a year, for 7 years or 8 years. If you can't, how do I say this nicely? If you buy something and the price of it goes down, you bought it. I didn't buy it for you and then transfer it to you. I didn't tell you to transfer me money and then buy the thing for you. It's so easy, I think, for a lot of people on the internet to think that, well, this happened and therefore it's someone else's fault. Please understand, at its core, I may be bullish, I may be excited, I may get hyped, I may have videos where I completely rant about one particular coin because it's been in the news nonstop for 3 years. This is a news channel. News. Daily news. Cryptocurrency daily news of happenings happening within the cryptocurrency space news channel. I'm not telling you to buy. I'm not telling you to get into. I'm telling you to absorb the actual news that's out there. There's a reason why I don't show you charts and things moving up and down and talking about Bollinger Bands and this is going to happen and this thing is showing on this date. There's a reason why this is just news. Because years ago, I'll even tell you, I did actually think, because I saw how popular those channels were. I was like, there are certain channels that not only copied my style, but then completely switched over to showing you daily charts of nonsense. Things that are not going to happen. And these people also, most of the time, can't even read charts. They get like 200,000 views per day. Imagine my surprise being able to sit there on YouTube and BS your way through an entire video. And then people get 30 times more views than I do. It is magical to see how easy it is to lie to people and for them to become popular. It is, I mean, it really all makes it worth it. So, after all that, I was trying not to rant, but you wouldn't imagine my frustration being in this space all the time, trying to legitimately give people the news, and even in some ways trying to help. Because I know that a lot of people are new to the space. There's always gonna be new people in the space. So I make sure that I'm like, okay, cool. For the veterans and for the people who are new here, let me give them the actual news that's happening on that day, whatever it might be. A lot of the times the cryptocurrency space's news is completely out there, like all the way to Mercury. Weird, but it's still relevant for the actual things and coins and projects that we're talking about, especially when it comes to the actual people behind a lot of these coins. Glad I got that out of the way. This is a news channel. I've said it at least 30 times over the last couple of years. If you don't feel comfortable with hearing the crypto news every day, there's a way for you to leave the channel. If you want other hypey news and for people to convince you that the stuff that you bought years ago is going to be fantastic, amazing, wonderful, and gorgeous and beautiful forever, there are other YouTube channels for that. Understand that while TMI, I am very bullish on the cryptocurrency space. When I say that I believe that Cardano has about 1 or 2 cycles left, that means at least hear me out here, at least a $20 to $25 Cardano is in the future as far as I can tell for this coin. That is to say, the previous all-time high was near $4. I assume during the hype cycle of the next 18 months, 2 years, we are probably going to see a $10, $11, $12 Cardano. It seems completely logical that we would at least do a 3 or 4x from the previous all-time high. I'm not signing in a 10 or 15x from the $3, but a $10, $11, $12 seems relatively believable. Prices will go down as they usually always do every cycle, and then as we begin to move back up, we'll get to that $19, $20, $21 Cardano, and if nothing spectacularly amazing has happened with this coin, poof, people will stop caring about it. A lot of times when people hear me say like cycles and stuff like that, they're like, why are you talking so negatively? No. Understand, while I am very bullish on this space, I am also a gigantic realist. I understand that a lot of the coins that I have put my money into as well, I still have Litecoin from a number of years ago. All those other coins that we were talking about for years and years, I still have them. But now, based off of new information, I understand that a lot of those coins, they simply disappeared because their project managers or the creators of them, it wasn't as decentralized. They've completely gone away. As bullish as I might be on this space, I live under no illusion or delusion about a lot of these coins. I understand that they are there to make me money for at some point for me to cash out so that I can buy other investments and continue making money. That's the goal of a lot of this. I know that there are a lot of other people who plan on holding on to their XRP, their Ether, their Dogecoin, their Shiba Inu, their Cardano, their Tron for decades. I've seen people talking about it with like real conviction. No. I'm holding on to my XRP until the thing hits like $500. Sir, I wish you the absolute best of luck because I will not be. I think a lot of these coins are going to do exceedingly well price-wise, especially leading up to and after the next halving. But I am not one of those people who's like, no, I'm going to be holding on to these coins forever. That's not the kind of investor that I am. Maybe I've never said that before. I feel like I did maybe one other video, but please understand that I'm not one of these people who will tell you, no. This is a forever coin. Yeah, I have forever other things to do with my money. So now that all of that is out of the way, once again, Old Man Hoskinson is in the news, and it's completely unsurprising at this point as to why. Charles Hoskinson, the co-founder of Input Output Global and the Cardano blockchain, recently expressed his frustration in a video over the U.S. regulators' decision to categorize Cardano as a security. He's perplexed and critical about the exemption of Bitcoin from being tagged as a security, mocking the situation as a pathetic joke, and pointing out the apparent free pass granted to Team Orange. I'm going to go over a bit of that in a couple of seconds as well. For those of you who missed it, the US SEC has once again reiterated that they believe that there are a large number of altcoins, and they've kind of just stuck to the top coins that have like the most volume. They say that they believe a lot of these coins are securities. The reason why they say that these coins are securities is because these coins were actually created, pre-mined, had an ICO, or are so attached to the idea of a company or a foundation's worth and or well-doing that they say that their perception is if the Cardano Foundation, the Cardano IOHK ABC123 does extremely well, therefore Cardano will do well as well. And that's where the security classification comes from. You can find the list. I think I made a video about it maybe 2-3 weeks ago where there was that other list that ended up popping up. A lot of people once again became quite annoyed. And this is what I think is fascinating about history, because the same exact people who were throwing rocks at Ripple and XRP are now in the same exact situation. Now you understand the frustration from the people who were talking about and or supporting Ripple and XRP. The classifications make no sense. This is talking about a law from the 1920s, before everyone even had a refrigerator, a telephone, a TV. There were no color TVs back then. Cables that connected information around the world besides Morse code. The computers, laptops, internet, or smartphones. Why a security law would apply at all to a digital currency online? It's because the US SEC is trying to gain control over the market that they should not have any actual control over. In a video clip shared online on Twitter, Charles Hoskinson passionately discussed his views on Cardano's classification as a security, contrasting it with Bitcoin and others. In the crypto space, he questions the logic, highlighting what he perceives as inconsistencies and unfair treatment in the regulatory approach without having to really go a lot further. He makes fun of people who are into Bitcoin and other altcoins. He says that all it takes is a couple subpoenas to be able to target a few entities to actually have a 51% attack on Bitcoin. And I would assume that Hoskinson, being as intelligent as people say that he actually is, would know a lot better than this. The actual believed cost of executing a 51% attack on Bitcoin, if you actually did have enough money to be able to launch an attack on it, the amount of money is believed to be around $500 billion. That is to say, if you, one person, an entity, 15 and you of your friends on a crazy night out, put together $500 billion, that's the believed cost of computing power, you would be able to execute a 51% attack on Bitcoin. But here's the problem. One, you just spent $500 billion doing nonsense. Two, the other thing that a lot of people, I think, maybe don't want to know, maybe are too afraid of knowing, or maybe they just want to be stuck in 2016, 2017. Remember how I told you before that every day, every 24-hour period that Bitcoin stays around, Bitcoin gets stronger. It has something to do with the network effect and also just like time and logic. If Bitcoin has been around for 14 years, and you execute a 51% attack, therefore you could do a number of things with a 51% attack. You could destroy the idea of the 21 million coins and simply create one coin, literally one coin There's now 21 million and one coin. The idea of Bitcoin kind of fades and evaporates. Oh no, we have more than the number that was set into the actual computer. You could create 1 million coins. You could slow down transactions. You could reverse transactions. But here, you want to know the interesting part? The entire network that remains, the other 49% from the, who's not a part of the 51, the other 49% as a network, they can actually come together and vote and say, we're going to fork the chain. So what happens is that one transaction from the 51% attacker that cost $500 billion goes into nothingness because they fork the chain and they go, well, the last 14 years of transactions will simply follow those. The transaction that printed another 1 million Bitcoin, we won't have that as part of the chain. And then you simply continue brand new transactions, and that then is still, or becomes, if you will, Bitcoin. Isn't that insane? And this is what I think that people don't talk about a lot anymore, because the idea of a 51% attack was a very real thing. And of course, it could still actually happen. But the longer Bitcoin stays around, the more we know what Bitcoin actually is. This is why Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision, did not survive, because we can see the main chain. We can see all the old transactions. And if the network says something is attacking our chain, let's hard fork. We basically branch off. Imagine like a new tree branch becoming like a gigantic new tree. That becomes the new Bitcoin. You wasted $500 billion and you look dumb. He lambasted this oversight as a glaring, pathetic, fudging joke, is what he said. Now, here's the really interesting part. Adam Back, who's one of the founders of Blockstream. Blockstream is kind of like the protectors of the Bitcoin code. I can't really think of like another term for it. They come up with a lot of like the ideas of the updates and things that should happen and how Bitcoin should be protected. Blockstream is gigantic and they're huge. Adam Back responded by saying, Charles Hoskinson, it's very simple. Bitcoin did not have an ICO. Most people thought it had no value. I'm going to go over that in a second. It was mined from zero. It is decentralized. There is no CEO, ICO, war-chested foundation. I'm going to go over that in a second. Incorporation, etc. So Cardano, ETH, clearly pass Howie. Bitcoin is a commodity and does not. So here we go. Going to give you some history lessons here. For those of you who do not know, Bitcoin did not have an ICO. That should be normal cryptocurrency Bitcoin history. Bitcoin was created by a person or a group of people called Satoshi Nakamoto, and it was literally released into the wild. The idea of Bitcoin thought it had no value is very, very important. Because if people bought it initially with the idea that Satoshi Nakamoto or the Nakamoto Foundation were going to bring up Bitcoin to be a world currency, people would have bought Bitcoin with the expectation of profit. But they did not. Bitcoin was purchased, and we have proof of this online, on Reddit, on Twitter, and all these other places of people simply using Bitcoin as a means of sending what they perceive to be value. The idea that there was a new digital way to send things across the internet was the idea of Bitcoin. It wasn't until I think about a year later that Bitcoin got its first value. But it was created, existed, and lived without having any value and was not initially purchased by people with an expectation of profit. There was no initial coin offering. It was created and thrown into the wild. The idea, for those of you who do not know, and I'll give you the actual information in another video because my brain is just going in one direction right now. Okay, Charles Hoskinson used to actually work for a number of cryptocurrency companies. The most popular one that he worked for or on at the very beginning was Ethereum. Part of the issue was, and this is all alleged, I've read information, I've seen documentaries, I've heard testimonials from people who were there back then, yada, 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 yada. Allegedly, Charles Hoskinson wanted to actually make sure that there was, allegedly, that there was no Ethereum foundation that was meant for the public and everyone. He wanted Ethereum to actually be a company. and he wanted to be the CEO of Ethereum. And Vitalik Buterin allegedly told him multiple times, no, I would like this to be the same exact way that Bitcoin was, simply just released to the public. He was then allegedly told by Charles Hoskinson, Joe Lubin, and Gavin, maybe it was, that he should actually have an ICO for Ethereum to be able to raise enough money in Bitcoin, which is what the ICO was actually in Bitcoin, to be able to fund the creation of the project and a lot of the other developers who were also building on top of it as well. Allegedly, at some point, Charles Hoskinson thought he was more than the project with him and a couple of other people. And he was actually ousted from Ethereum because he basically did everything opposite of what Vitalik Buterin wanted to do. Allegedly. So saith the internet and history as it currently stands right now. Ethereum was also pre-mined. That's also part of the problem. Bitcoin was not. Bitcoin, the first block, was created, I believe, was it Satoshi or was it one of his other friends who he was emailing? I can't remember that part. Decentralization also has a huge part to play in it. The idea is that decentralization apparently in some ways, according to the SEC, also flows to the actual developer as well, which then leads a gigantic question mark as to why Ethereum isn't counted as a security, but that's also another conversation for another day. The idea is that for those of you who weren't here a number of years ago, when the Litecoin co-founder used to be heavily in the news, heavily, as much as Charles Hoskinson, but not as like in like a, Hoskinson-y kind of way. He was in the news all the time, always talking about prices and where things were going to go. And then at some point he was like, I think I'm actually going to leave the Litecoin project, because he realized that every time he tweeted, every time he said anything online about Litecoin, the price of Litecoin would move up or down. So some days this guy would literally wake up and be like, I had the greatest sleep ever. Let's start a new day. And Litecoin would go up by 4%. Other days he'd be like, I'm not joking. Like, I didn't sleep that well, got a lot of work to do. Oh boy, it's going to be a long day. And Litecoin's price would drop. And he was like, I don't want that kind of power. So this is why you've seen a lot of the actual CEOs and stuff like back away, or like they're not as prominent anymore. This is why you don't see Vitalik talking as much as he used to within the cryptocurrency space. Part of the problem is that Charles Hoskinson has only upped the amount of times that he's actually talking. This gives the perception that people are buying the coin because of the creator. They're buying the coin because of the actions of the foundation. I'm simply going over the idea because I looked into it as well, and I couldn't understand why the idea of a law from the 1920s having to do with buying oranges equated to the SEC as a security. This is what it basically has to do with. And this is also the idea of decentralization. If there was a pre-mine, or anyone in the foundation happens to have a large amount of the coins that should have been given to the public, this also, in the SEC's eyes, constitutes a heavy level of centralization. There is no CEO for Bitcoin. However, the Cardano Foundation and all these other things, they have CEOs or people who present as CEOs, as the head of the foundation. The ICO war-chested foundation. The idea that you created an ICO to be able to fund the project that you said that you were going to do. This is why Bitcoin got a complete pass from the SEC because of all of these things. The problem is that Charles Hoskinson continued to go on a gigantic rant talking about how it's actually unfair. There's a book. It's called The Kryptonians. I'm pretty sure that's it. The Kryptonians by Laura Shin. Laura space Shin. And it basically talks about the idea that as they were creating Ethereum, I think Joseph Lubin and one other person, as they used to work for Wall Street, they understood what securities were, and they were like, we need to do everything in our power to make sure that these things are not securities. And this is why it was voted against having a CEO for Ethereum, which they originally had, which Charles Hoskinson had appointed himself. Because when you do all these things, You set up yourself as a company, regardless of if you announce that you're starting a company in Switzerland and have a Canadian arm and a US arm, and that it's decentralized and all these other things. The SEC doesn't care. There's an actual thing that was created. You created something with value. You told people beforehand, give us your crypto and we'll give you another crypto. This is showing that it has value based off of a trade. You give me Bitcoin, I give you this. They both have value. This may have more value based on the partnerships that we're going to have. Oh boy, bit of a different video. Did not expect it to get so intense, but I need everyone to really come together and understand. This is a news channel. My perception of a lot of different projects and coins, of course, is going to change over time. If you continue to have the same mindset and ideas that you had 15, 20 years ago, that's kind of sad. Humans evolve and we change based off of new information that we have. My ideas of Bitcoin have also completely changed. It took about a good 5 to 6 years, but you might remember in the early days, I was like, no, Bitcoin is complete nonsense. It's very slow. But then when you hear about how strong and powerful it actually is and the backing around the world and how decentralized it actually is, you come to understand that it is the number one coin for a reason. When you go over, and a lot of you are here every single day, what are you talking about? When you're here every single day with me and you see the news that's out there, like, think critically. If the only news you're getting about a bunch of different altcoins is that their prices are going to go up, they're going to be burning more coins, they think at some point in the future they might potentially have a partnership. If you see them like taking photos, it's the same exact crap years ago with Tron. When we had news that Justin Sun was apparently Jack Ma's friend, and then the photo that we had of them holding hands or shaking hands was I think from Justin Sun's graduation from university that Jack Ma founded. So he was there shaking everyone's hand, and I was like, oh, okay, red flag, something's wrong. Same exact thing, that every single thing that Justin Sun has touched has turned to poop. Every single thing, every single freaking exchange, every single coin, every single other thing. So like I said, to reiterate, I think Cardano's price is going to do just fine this cycle and perhaps the next one. But don't ever stand there with the illusion that because I like a coin or hold a coin that I think it's going to $9 million. There's a lot of altcoins that I hold that I know are going to do well, but I am going to be selling them. That's how the market works. Anyway, yeah, bit of an intense video. I sincerely hope that you got something from this. I hope maybe you even learned a little bit about me and how I function. I don't know if I ever gave anyone the opinion before that because I hold a coin, I'm like, this project is amazing. No, I know a lot of these projects are garbage unless they tell me otherwise. This is what changes my idea. And I remember someone even saying it before. This was like about a year and a half ago. Somebody was like, TMI, why aren't you talking about Ripple or XRP as much? They weren't in the news. Anytime we had news about them, it was about the SEC, them getting sued, them getting in trouble, something bad happening. But guess what happened at the beginning of this year? There's been nonstop countries and corporations and banks and institutions who are using XRP. Of course, my perception is going to change. It's just absolute logic. Like, you can't sit there and be like, well, I got into this coin in 2011 and I'm just going to hope like there was there was another coin called WorldCoin before this scam one that came out. There's another coin called WorldCoin. This was, oh my gosh, 2013, 14, 15, somewhere around there. And I remember people being like, it's called WorldCoin. Like, of course it's going to make it. And I stupidly sat there online having a discussion with someone being like, well, I don't think that that's going to actually, no. It's quicker and faster than Bitcoin. It's going to make it. Like, it has the name world in it. I was like, because the word world is there. Like, doesn't, no. People around the world are going to use WorldCoin. And I was like, am I not speaking English properly? Like, is he just not understanding what I'm saying? Your worldviews about things should be changing based off of the information that you are given. That's how you continue to grow as a person and also as an investor. If you bought Apple stock and you heard tomorrow, I can't even think of a situation. I was going to say something along the lines of like Transformers or dinosaurs. I don't know why my brain got there. Some catastrophic news about Apple. And that news continued for a year and a half. Would you sit there and go, well, Apple's going to make a comeback? You would have sold your stock. You wouldn't sit there with this illusion. I don't know why in the cryptocurrency space, people are so hyper tribal when it comes to these things. You didn't create these coins. You didn't make them. Why are you so attached to these projects? I don't get it. Like, it's not the idea of these coins and these projects for you should be that you are going to make money off of them and have a brand new lease on life. I bought this coin X amount of years ago. It went up to X number. I sold it. I was able to buy a house. That should be your goal. Not that this coin is going to be around for the next 380 years. Okay. That is most certainly going to do it for this video. I sincerely hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely spectacularly spectacular. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See